The night before my wife left for her business trip to Sweden, I swapped her birth control pills for folic acid. She won't suspect a thing. The two pills are the exact same size, and the color is almost identical. It took me 3 days to find the perfect substitute. Could you double-check my suitcase for me? She asked. Lu Rian walked out of the bathroom, her hair still dripping wet. Drops of water were tracing down her collarbone. I crouched in front of her suitcase. I had placed them in the exact same spot as her birth control. All checked, I said. What about my documents? Passport? Visa? Proof of employment? They're all in the front zipper pocket. She walked over. She bent down, rummaged through it, and zipped it up once she was satisfied. 6 months. That's a long time. I leaned against the wardrobe, keeping my tone completely flat. I have no choice. The project team in Sweden is really short-staffed. Management specifically asked for me. Her tone was entirely natural. If I hadn't seen that notification pop up on her phone screen with my own eyes 3 days ago, I probably would have believed her. The message read, Eric says the winters in Stockholm are beautiful. Can't wait for you to get here. The sender was saved under the name Project Team E, but Eric wasn't just some team member. He was Eric Lindberg, the vice president of the Swedish branch of her company, 41 years old. He came to China on a business trip last September, and took a photo with her at the company's annual gala. In that picture, his hand was resting right on her waist. I found that photo while scrolling through the cloud backup on her old phone. The same old phone she thought she had already factory reset. Let's go to sleep. My flight is at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Lu Rian finished drying her hair and slipped under the covers. I turned off the light. In the darkness, I heard her shift in bed, turning her back to me. 3 years ago, she was never like this. 3 years ago, she would fall asleep wrapping her arms tightly around mine. She would whisper random sweet nothings into my ear, and playfully press her freezing cold feet against my calves. Now, she subconsciously pulls away even if I just brush her hand. When did things start to change? I lay there wide awake in the dark, piecing the timeline back together in my head. Last August, she started working late all the time. Last October, she changed the lock screen passcode on her phone. Last December, first time she used a business trip as an excuse to stay out all night. This February, she actively pushed to be sent to Sweden. Every single piece of the puzzle fits perfectly. At 2 a.m., I heard her phone vibrate. The screen lit up for a split second. I didn't bother checking it. I didn't need to. The folic acid was already in her bag. If she goes 6 months in Sweden without sleeping with anyone, then those pills are just ordinary vitamin supplements, completely harmless to her body. But if she gets pregnant, trading her birth control for folic acid won't just fail to protect her. It'll be the perfect prenatal supplement. This is the verification plan I designed for myself. No confronting, no arguing, no stalking. Just waiting for one result. 5 o'clock the next morning. The alarm went off. Lu Rian got up and washed up. I helped her carry her luggage to the door. The taxi was already waiting downstairs. I'm leaving then. She put on her high heels. Dragging her suitcase, she opened the door. Have a safe trip. She paused for a moment, as if she wanted to say something. In the end, she just nodded. The door closed. I stood in the entryway, listening to her high heels clicking down the hallway. The sound on the floor getting further and further away, until it completely disappeared. Then I took out my phone, and sent a message to Zhao Lei. Let's start. Zhao Lei replied very quickly. I've drafted the divorce agreement. It's ready to sign anytime. As for the property, divide it exactly how you want it. Are you sure you don't want to fight for more? No need. Give her the house. I'll keep the car, and we'll split the savings 50-50. You invested way more than this in this marriage. What I want isn't money. As long as you've thought it through. That Swedish guy you asked me to look into, Eric Lindberg. He stayed in the country for 3 months last year. Entry and exit records show he's been to at least the 3 cities your wife went to on business trips. Do you want to see the detailed itinerary? I turned off my phone screen. No need to look. Outside the window, it was just getting light. Lu Rian's taxi had already turned out of the neighborhood gate. Starting from today, a 6-month countdown. I spent the first day after Lu Rian left settling the accounts of this marriage. Not the financial accounts, but the emotional ones. My name is Chen Mo, 32 years old. Everyone thinks I'm a freelancer working from home, taking translation gigs. Lu Rian's parents think so. Her brother, Su Jia, thinks so. Lu Rian probably thinks so too. After all, my daily routine looks like just sitting in the study staring at the computer, occasionally going out to buy groceries and cook. Picking Lu Rian up from work. Like a standard house husband. But what I'm actually doing on my computer, no one has ever cared. And no one has ever asked. On the 3rd day after Lu Rian went abroad, her mom, Qian Hufang, called. Now that Nian Nian has left, you don't have much to do alone at home, right? It just so happens that Su Jia is tight on cash right now. Lend him 150,000 first for emergencies. 150,000? He just borrowed 80,000 last month, and hasn't paid back a single cent. I'm tight on money too. What are you tight on? You're a translator making a few thousand a month, and you never even leave the house. What do you even spend money on? Isn't Nian Nian's salary card with you? Just take it from there first. That's Nian Nian's salary. Nian Nian is my daughter. What's wrong with me making decisions for her? Sujia will come by this afternoon to pick it up. The phone clicked dead. I stared at the screen, looking at the cybersecurity audit report I had just finished. The client was a publicly traded company. The fee for this single project was 470,000. I put down my phone and went back to work. At 3 in the afternoon, the doorbell rang. Sujia was leaning against the doorframe, loudly chewing a piece of gum. Got the money ready? No. He froze for a second. What do you mean? Didn't my mom tell you? Your mom said it, but I never agreed to it. Sujia spat his gum into his palm, rolled it into a ball, and flicked it onto the floor. You're being a real jerk right now, man. My sister is out in Sweden making you look good, and you can't even do this one little favor at home? Pay back the 8,000 you owe me from last time, then we'll talk. Are you seriously tripping over that chump change? His expression darkened. Don't push your damn luck. My sister settled for you. My parents have kept their mouths shut about it, so you should be damn grateful. I opened the notes app on my phone, and pulled up a specific number to show him. From the day we got married until now, you borrowed 314,000 from me. You haven't paid back a single cent. Here's the ledger. I have screenshots of every single transfer. Sujia stared at the screen, his neck flushing red. You actually kept track of this? I'm a translator. I'm sensitive to numbers. Out the door, take a left. The elevator is at the end of the hall. I slammed the door shut. A string of muffled curses came from outside, followed by the heavy slam of the stairwell door. I ignored him and went back to my study. I booted up my other computer. This one was connected to a highly encrypted network, storing all my work files and client data from the past 5 years. I was an independent cybersecurity consultant. My client list included 6 Fortune 500 companies, 12 publicly traded domestic companies, and 3 highly classified government projects. My annual income, if Lu Rian ever found out the real number, she'd probably think it was a joke. But she had never even bothered to ask. She only knew I was a translator, because I never bothered to correct her. In our 3 years of marriage, she hadn't stepped into my study even once to see what was actually on my computer screen. Not a damn thing. I opened the file Zhao Lei had sent me. It was the first draft of the divorce agreement. I read through it line by line. I made a change to one of the clauses. Originally, it stated, an equal 50-50 split of all marital assets. I changed it to, the husband forfeits his share of the real estate in the marital property, retaining only his premarital assets and personal bank accounts. Lu Rian had absolutely no idea how much money was in my personal accounts. No one did. Zhao Lei called me right after receiving the revised draft. Are you sure about this? You paid half the down payment for that house. Why give it up? Have you really made up your mind? What if the whole folic acid thing? What if she didn't do it? Zhao Lei, if she's innocent, I'll apologize to her myself. Put the pills back, pretend like nothing happened, and if she does, then just mail this agreement straight to her. I hung up the phone and walked out onto the balcony. Down in the courtyard, an old lady was walking her dog. Lu Rian used to say she wanted a dog, too. But later, she said she was too busy with work. No time for it. That's just how a lot of things go. First you say you don't have the time, and then, you really don't. 15 days after Lu Rian left, she gave me a video call. On the screen, she was sitting in the living room of a minimally furnished apartment. She was wearing a gray hoodie, looking a little exhausted. Getting used to it over there? It's alright. The jet lag is just a bit brutal. Have you eaten? Yeah, cooked for myself. There was a silence for a few seconds. We never used to be like this. We used to stay on video calls for an hour. Now, 5 sentences in, and we've run out of things to say. How's work? I fished for a topic. Pretty busy. The project just kicked off. There's a lot to do. She shot a quick glance to the side. The movement was fast, like she was checking on something. Is there someone with you? No. I took a glance at the time. She let out a laugh, but the smile felt rehearsed. Hollow, really? Oh, right. I found the pills in my makeup bag. Thanks for packing my luggage. My heart skipped a beat. Did you check them? Didn't look too closely, just wanted to make sure they were there. She didn't notice. Only the engraving on the back of the pills was different. One was the brand initial. The other was the ingredient code. Unless you popped them out and compared them side by side, you'd never tell the difference. I'm gonna hang up now. Get some rest. The screen went black. I sat there on the couch, staring up at the ceiling. She said no one was with her. But when she turned her head, the camera shook for a split second. I saw 2 mugs on the coffee table. Maybe she was using 2 mugs for herself. Maybe not. I saved a screenshot from the video call. The next day, I booted up an information tracking program I designed myself. Not spyware. I never installed anything on Lu Rian's phone. But her social media accounts are set to public. And so are the posts of her colleague, Fang Lin. Fang Lin, Lu Rian's best friend from college. They work at the exact same company. But she didn't go to Sweden. 3 days ago, Fang Lin made a post. She tagged the location at the company headquarters, along with a picture from a dinner party. In the corner of the photo, there was a laptop screen showing a sliver of an email. In the recipient line, there was a name. Eric Lind. The body of the email was completely blurred, but you could still make out the first few letters of the subject line. Regarding Stockholm dinner arrangements. Dinner arrangements. Fang Lin isn't even on the Sweden project team. So why would she have an email sent to Eric on her computer? Unless Lu Rian forwarded it to her. Just best friends sharing their dinner date plans. In a normal coworker relationship, this is super weird. But, in the context of helping your bestie pick out a restaurant for a date, it makes perfect sense. I saved a screenshot of this social media post, too. I don't need a mountain of evidence. I just need that one final outcome. Second month after Lu Rian left, Zhao Lei asked me out for dinner. I've finalized your divorce agreement. He slid a file folder across the table. I took it and flipped through the pages. There's something I need to tell you. Zhao Lei lowered his voice. That former client of yours, Zhou Yuanong, the big shot from Washeng Group. He had someone reach out to me last week. Said he wants to hire you for a security system upgrade project. He's offering 8 million. 8 million? I don't really want to take on any big projects right now. Zhao Lei put down his chopsticks. Chen Mo, what on earth are you thinking? You know damn well how much your skills are worth. You hole up in that tiny study taking odd jobs, making $1 million or so a year. If you actually started a proper company. All because of Lu Rian. I stayed silent. Zhao Lei let out a heavy sigh. You quietly got into this line of work back then. All because of her. She said she didn't like you being too busy. So you crammed all your work into the hours she was at the office. She said she felt the cybersecurity industry was dangerous. So you never even mentioned what you actually do. You turned yourself into a ghost. Just to make her feel like you're a safe, stable husband. This has nothing to do with her. You graduated from Tsinghua, a master's in cybersecurity, a top 10 independent consultant in this industry. And your wife's family calls you, that translator guy. He pointed right at me. Do you know how Su Jia was introducing you to people outside last month? Oh, my brother-in-law? He just translates documents at home. A total freeloader. I picked up my beer and took a sip. Are you done eating? There will be an outcome in 4 months. Until then, I'm not changing a single thing. He looked at me, shaking his head. You're treating your own life like a damn experiment. You know that? I didn't answer. On the way home, I got a call from Qian Hufang. Su Jia said you had a terrible attitude last time. I just didn't lend him the money. What is wrong with you? Just because Nian Nian isn't home, you suddenly show your true colors? The money Su Jia owes. Money, money, always about money. We're a family, why bring up money? You're so petty and calculating. No wonder Nian Nian says living with you is completely boring. I gripped my phone, stopping right under a street lamp. Nian Nian told you that? What she says is her business. Are you going to lend him the 150,000 or not? I hung up. Lu Rian actually said that to her mother. Living with you is so boring. When did she say that? Why did she say it? It doesn't matter anymore. When I got home, I turned on the computer in the study. And started doing one thing. I made double backups of all my work files. Then wiped every trace of myself from the machine. In 4 months, I'll be moving out. There won't be a single thing left in this apartment that belongs to me. A month after Lu Rian left. Our calls dropped to once every 10 days, and never lasted more than a minute. Are you busy? Just trying to meet some deadlines lately. Take care of yourself. I know. What about you? Same old. Alright, I'm hanging up. I stopped analyzing the backgrounds of her video calls. I stopped counting how many mugs were on her coffee table. I stopped watching to see if she was turning her head to check on someone, because much more direct information had already arrived. Zhao Lei had tracked down Eric Lin's address in Stockholm. It was a 2-bedroom apartment right in the center of the Oster district. Zhao Lei didn't do anything illegal. All of this was public property registration data. But Zhao Lei found one extra record. 3 months ago, for Eric's apartment, an application was submitted for an additional resident access card. The applicant's initials were S.N. Lu Rian's pinyin initials. I archived the message. I felt absolutely nothing. 3 months ago, when I swapped out her pills, I was still angry. I was resentful. I still held onto that 1 in 10,000 chance of hope. Thinking maybe both of those mugs really were hers, or maybe Eric was just a normal coworker. Maybe I was just overthinking everything. But 3 months had passed. And that hope had been completely crushed by the facts. Now, I was just calm. As calm as still water. That same week, Fang Lin posted a really long, preachy quote on her moments. The last line read, "Sometimes, letting go of the person who doesn't love you is the only way to save yourself." I wasn't sure who she was talking about, but Lu Rian had left a like in the comments. Later that night, Su Jia showed up again. He didn't ring the doorbell this time. I walked out of the study and saw him just standing in the living room, holding a bottle of liquor. Hey, bro, I was out of line last time. He set the bottle down on the coffee table. Let's have a couple of drinks. My treat, to apologize. The key. I held out my hand. The spare key Lu Rian gave you. Come on, bro, are you really? He pulled the key out of his pocket and tossed it onto the coffee table. Here, but let me tell you something. Chen Mo, you're just too damn petty. No wonder my sister. He stopped himself. Your sister what? Nothing. What did she tell you? Su Jia scratched his head, looking like he was hesitating whether to say it or not. I'm not drinking. You can leave now. Chen Mo, he slammed his hand on the coffee table. Can you just stop being so cold? My sister isn't home. You could at least be polite to me. Politeness is for guests. Well, you're not a guest. I'm your brother-in-law. A brother-in-law who owes me 310,000 and won't pay it back. His face flushed bright red. You just wait. I'm telling my sister, and when she gets back, she's gonna settle this with you. Be my guest. The door's right behind you. He grabbed his bottle of liquor and slammed the door on his way out. I picked up the keys from the coffee table, tossed them into the drawer, and pulled out my phone. I shot a text to Zhao Lei. Help me find a new place. 2 bedrooms, somewhere quiet. Need to move out before the end of the month. Zhao Lei replied instantly. You're moving out early? Not waiting the full 6 months? I've seen enough. I'm done. What about the house? I'm leaving the keys inside, and the deed is in the bedroom drawer. Are you really leaving everything behind? The things I actually want aren't in this house. Moving day fell on a Saturday. I only took 2 suitcases and my computer. I packed up all my clothes from the closet, but didn't touch a single thing belonging to Lu Rian. I did take the kitchen knife I always used. I bought it myself back in college and had been using it for 10 years. I also grabbed a few of my tech books from the shelf in the study. Everything else, including our wedding photos, the deed to the house I paid half the down payment for, and the watch Lu Rian had bought me. I left it all exactly where it was. On my final trip out the door, my neighbor from across the hall, Mrs. Zhang, was just stepping out to take out the trash. Oh, are you moving out? Yeah, just finding a new place. Where's your wife? She went abroad. Oh, I see. So you're going to join her. I just smiled without saying a word, picked up my suitcase, and left. The new place was in a quiet neighborhood on the east side of town. Zhao Lei found it for me. It was a simple 2-bedroom apartment. 5th floor, no elevator. I got my computer set up. And before even unpacking my bags, I did one thing. I unlocked my phone and went straight to my contacts. Lu Rian, WeChat, Lu Rian, delete contact. I unfollowed and blocked every single one of her social media accounts. Next was Qian Hufang, blocked. I hesitated for a second. Fang Lin's social media feed was the only channel I had left to indirectly see what Lu Rian was up to. Not that I actually wanted to know. Once all that was done, I turned to my computer and accepted Zhou Yuanhang's 8 million project. Zhao Lei was right. I really couldn't afford to just lay low anymore. During my first week at the new place, I signed 3 clients, totaling 12 million. By the second week, Zhou Yuanhang flew out to see me in person. He was the vice president of the Washeng Group, 45 years old, sharp and decisive. I've looked at your system proposal. It's excellent, but I have an additional thought. He sat across from me, tapped the table. Are you interested in joining Washeng? Not as an employee, but as a technical partner. Under what conditions? You'll be in charge of building the information security system for the entire group. I'll give you 5% of the shares. Based on the current valuation, that's worth about 300 million. I just looked at him. I need to think about it. No rush. He stood up, walked over to the window, and looked downstairs. By the way, that project you did for the government last time. There's a technical detail I've been meaning to ask about. How did you manage to, within 48 hours, track down that vulnerability? Our own team spent 3 months and couldn't find it. Experience like yours. You couldn't find 5 people in the whole country who have it. I stayed quiet. Before leaving, he dropped one last line. Call me when you've made up your mind. The shares are negotiable. 5% is the baseline. With no upper limit. Time moved on to the 4th month. Fang Lin's social media suddenly went quiet. It dropped from 3 or 4 posts a week to just 1 every 10 days. Content also shifted from dinner selfies to sharing company news. I noticed a detail. She deleted that motivational quote she had posted before. The one that said, sometimes letting go of someone who doesn't love you is how you save yourself. Why did she delete it? Did someone see something they shouldn't have? Or did Lu Rian make her delete it? That same week, an unknown number sent me a text message. This is Fang Lin. Is it a good time for a call? She didn't call, and I didn't reply. She sent another message. There are some things I think you should know. if you're willing to listen. I set my phone aside and went back to writing code. I picked my phone back up and sent a short reply. I already know. It took a long time for Fang Lin to text back. How much do you know? She didn't send another word, but her reaction confirmed one thing for me. Fang Lin knew what was going on with Lu Rian over in Sweden. And she had been tearing herself up over whether to tell me or not. That night, I gave Zhao Lei a call. Any new updates from Sweden? Are you sure you want to hear this? Eric's apartment, 3 weeks ago, had a furniture purchase record. A baby crib. My grip on the phone didn't shake. It's confirmed? The delivery address was that exact apartment. A baby crib. It's only been 4 months since I swapped out those folic acid pills. If Lu Rian is pregnant right now, the timeline lines up perfectly. There's one more thing. Zhao Lei paused. Last week, Lu Rian submitted a request to the company to extend her overseas assignment from 6 months to a full year. Was it approved? Still pending. She wants to extend her stay. Is it really because of the project? Or is it because of something else? If she is pregnant, by 6 months, her baby bump would be too obvious. She won't be able to come back. At least she wouldn't dare show up with a pregnant belly. Zhao Lei, are the divorce papers ready? They can be sent at any time. Don't send them just yet. Wait until she comes back. What if she extends her stay to a year? She will come back. How can you be so sure? Because her extension request won't be approved. Why is that? I've already checked her project's progress. It's all in the public data. Phase 1 of the project in Sweden has already wrapped up. Her name isn't on the roster for Phase 2. Are you saying, she used the project as an excuse to apply for an extension, but in reality, the company has no reason to approve it? Exactly. Then what is she going to do? She either comes back, or she quits. Zhao Lei fell silent on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Did you calculate all of this right from the very beginning? I merely prepared for the worst case scenario, and then verified every single step as it happened. Zhao Lei, I need you to do something for me. Next month, I'll be attending an industry summit. The theme is cybersecurity. It's taking place in Shanghai. I need to attend under my own name. No corporate affiliations. Are you finally stepping into the public eye? Pretty much. Why now? Because I need certain people to know that Chen Mo is not just some translator. The Shanghai summit took place during the 5th month after Lu Rian left. The attendees included the nation's top cybersecurity experts, corporate executives, and government representatives. My name was listed 3rd on the roster of guest speakers. The topic of my speech was Enterprise Data Security Restructuring under a Zero Trust Architecture. The title sounded purely academic, but everyone sitting in the audience knew the truth. Anyone capable of presenting on this topic must have been involved in national-level security projects. Zhou Yuanan found me backstage. Have you thought it over? 8%. He didn't even hesitate, just reached out his hand right then and there. I shook his hand. From this moment forward, I was no longer a freelancer. I was now the technical partner of Washeng Group, in charge of the entire group's information security system. An 8% stake, based on the valuation at the time, it was worth 480 million. After the speech wrapped up, more than a dozen people swarmed me to hand over their business cards. One of them in particular caught my eye. Mr. Chen. I'm a partner at Manhua Capital. He was about 35. Manhua Capital focused heavily on tech sector investments, managing assets well over 10 billion. I am incredibly interested in your technical solutions. Have you ever thought about starting your own company? Not at the moment. If you ever do, I would love to be your very first investor. He handed me his card. Reach out anytime. Later that night, I went back to my hotel room. I unlocked my phone. Fang Lin had just posted a new update on her moments. It was a photo, one that Lu Rian had sent to her. Lu Rian was standing by a lake, wearing a very loose-fitting coat. The scarf covered most of her body, but it couldn't hide her slightly bulging belly. The caption was just a sun emoji. When Fang Lin shared the post, she didn't add a single word. I saved the photo. Everything was in place. I turned off my phone. I stood by the hotel window for a long time. The night view of Shanghai was beautiful, brightly lit, a sea of city lights. Behind every light was a story. As for my story, it was coming to an end. Just as I thought, Lu Rian's extension request wasn't approved. HR notified her to stick to the original plan and return home at the end of her 6th month. Zhao Lei found this out through his connections. Her return flight was booked for the 16th of next month. Zhao Lei asked, "How are you going to face her?" "I'm not going to." "What do you mean?" "I've moved out, changed my number. I've blocked her on absolutely everything. When she gets back, she won't be able to find me. Then how will you give her the divorce papers? She'll come looking for you. When she realizes she can't reach me, her first instinct will be to call my friends. And you're the only friend of mine that she knows." Zhao Lei let out a laugh. "You've really calculated every last detail, haven't you? When the time comes, just hand her the papers. And remember, do not tell her my new address or my new number." After hanging up, I started working on something else. My shares in the Washung Group. 8%. Worth about 500 million. My personal savings. The money I made working as an independent consultant over the last 5 years, minus living expenses and the 310,000 I lent to Sujia, left me with around 6 million. 3 newly signed projects. The 3-month payout cycle, totaling 12 million. And there was one more thing. A tech patent I held since before we even got married. It was an encryption algorithm I developed during grad school. It was later adopted by several major tech companies. The annual licensing fee alone was about 800,000. Legally, it had absolutely nothing to do with Lu Rian. What I wrote in the divorce agreement about giving up my share of the property was essentially me walking away from a house worth 3 million, leaving my 1,500,000 cut behind. And I walked away without a single word. Lu Rian thought she married a lowly translator making barely 800,000 a year. She will never know exactly what kind of man she pushed away with her own 2 hands. Or maybe, she'll find out sooner or later. The day Lu Rian returned to the country, I was sitting in my office at the new company. That's right, I had an office now. Washung Group cleared out an entire floor just for me, to build their information security center. A team of 30 people, every single one personally interviewed and hired by me. At 3 p.m. that afternoon, Zhao Lei sent me a message. She's landed. I didn't reply. At 3:45, she's home. She found out you moved out. She called you over a dozen times, but your phone is turned off. I didn't reply. At 4:20, she's calling my phone now. Just do exactly as I said. 4:35, Zhao Lei sent a voice-to-text message. It was Lu Rian's voice. I couldn't hear the audio, but the text Zhao Lei forwarded was more than enough. Where did Chen Mo go? Did he move out? Did something happen to him? I can't get through to his phone. I can't even add him on WeChat. Can you please tell me where he is? Zhao Lei replied to her, exactly as I requested. Chen Mo entrusted me to hand over a document to you. If it's convenient for you, you can come by my law firm. What document? You'll know when you get here. 5:15, Zhao Lei sent another message. She's at my office. I gave her the agreement. What was her reaction? She cried. I stared at those 2 words, silently repeating them in my head. And then, she asked if you made a mistake. She said, she won't agree to the divorce. She asked why. What did you say? I told her. Chen Mo asked me to pass on a message. That exact line you told me to say. I wish you and Eric a happy life together. 6 o'clock sharp. Zhao Lei sent his final message. She left. Before she left, she asked one thing. How did he know? How did you answer? I told her I didn't know. I put down my phone and slowly swiveled my chair, looking out through the floor to ceiling windows. The sun was about to set. The office was dead silent. How did he know? Not, who is Eric? Not, there's nothing going on between me and Eric. Not, this is all a misunderstanding. How did he know? That question itself was the answer. It should have ended there. But, it didn't. On the 3rd day after Lu Rian returned, I was in a meeting at work. Reception notified me that someone was looking for me. A woman. She claimed to be your family member. I walked out to the front desk and saw Qian Hufang sitting in the waiting area. Su Jia was standing right beside her. Both of them looked furious. How did you find this place? Qian Hufang suddenly shot up from her seat. You'd better explain yourself. What gives you the right to divorce Neonian? Who do you think you are, moving out without even telling us? What the hell do you think you are? The entire lobby went dead silent. The receptionist's eyes went wide. 2 passing employees stopped in their tracks. This is my workplace, I said. If you have something to say, let's talk somewhere else. We are going to talk right here. Qian Hufang yelled, her voice even louder. You made my daughter cry for 3 days straight. Do you have any idea? Su Jia stepped up. Brother-in-law. No, wait. Chen Mo, you've got a lot of nerve, huh? Moving out and blocking us. Are you seeing someone behind her back? I looked at him. What did you just say? Why are you acting so guilty? My sister is working her heart out in Sweden, and you're pulling this crap back here? Working hard at what, exactly? Su Jia froze. Qian Hufang froze too. I didn't raise my voice. In fact, it was even quieter than usual. Working hard at what? Do you really not know? What's that supposed to mean? Ask your daughter. I looked straight at Qian Hufang. Ask her who Eric is. Ask her why her belly is getting big and she's too scared to come home. Qian Hufang's face instantly drained of color. What kind of nonsense are you spouting? I'm not spouting nonsense. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, opened the gallery, and scrolled to the photo of Lu Rian that Fang Lin posted on her timeline. A loose coat, and a very visible baby bump. This was taken 4 months ago. It should be way more obvious by now. Go ask her yourselves. Ask her whose baby it is. Qian Hufang stared at the photo. The anger on her face slowly morphed into something else entirely. This is impossible. What's so impossible about it? Su Jia snatched the phone from my hand to look. This is photoshopped, right? Your sister's best friend, Fang Lin, posted it. Why don't you go ask her if it's photoshopped? Sujia opened his mouth. No words came out. The lobby felt completely dead silent. Just then, the elevator doors opened. Zhou Yuanan walked out. He took one look at the tense scene in the lobby and walked right over. Mr. Chen, who is? Qian Hufang looked up at Zhou Yuanan, then back at me. Mr. Chen? Sujia finally snapped out of it too. He looked around nervously. We were on the 20th floor. The Washeng Group logo was gleaming brightly on the wall behind the front desk. You work here? He doesn't just work here. Zhou Yuanan answered for me. He is the technical partner of Washeng Group. He heads the Information Security Center for the entire corporation. As for all of you here, he glanced over them. Do you need me to properly introduce Mr. Chen's full title? I waved him off. No need. They're just here about a personal matter. And we're done here. Qian Hufang stood completely frozen in shock. Sujia's jaw was still on the floor. You can leave now. I turned and headed for the elevator. Turn right when you exit. There's a taxi stand down by the main lobby. Just before the elevator doors closed, I heard Qian Hufang whisper to Sujia, her voice trembling violently. He isn't just a translator. Word travels fast. That very same night, Fang Lin sent me a message. It wasn't a regular text. It was through LinkedIn. Lu Rian asked me to reach out to you. She says she needs to speak with you in person. I ignored it. The next day, Fang Lin sent another message. She said she could explain. I replied with a single text. The divorce papers are with my lawyer, Zhao Lei. Just sign them. We don't need to meet in person. It took Fang Lin a long time to reply. She said she wouldn't sign. Then we'll take it to court. Are you really not going to hear her out? Fang Lin, you know exactly what I know. And you know that everything I said is the truth. What's left to explain? She didn't reply after that, but I knew it wouldn't be this simple. Lu Rian refusing to sign the papers meant she was still trying to save the marriage. Or rather, trying to spin the story to fit her own version of events. A new player entered the picture. Lu Rian's father, Su Jiangguo. He called Zhao Lei's number. Zhao Lei recorded the conversation and sent it over to me. This is Lu Rian's father. Regarding the situation between Nianian and Chen, I'd like to have a word with you. Mr. Su, the terms of the divorce agreement are very clear. Chen Mo has already made the biggest concessions possible. I'm not talking about the agreement. What I want to say is, Nianian might have her own unspoken difficulties. What difficulties? She said that in Sweden, she was being harassed by that foreigner. She hasn't done anything to betray Chen. Zhao Lei answered exactly as I had instructed him to. Mr. Su, regarding this matter, all I can say is that Chen Mo has solid evidence. For the specific details, I suggest you ask your daughter. What evidence? That is not something I am at liberty to disclose. Attorney Zhao, this is a marriage between two young people. We should save it if we can. I know what kind of man Chen is. Mr. Su, 3 years ago, at the wedding banquet, you said something. You said your daughter was marrying beneath her. Chen Mo remembers that very clearly. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then, he hung up. After listening to the recording, I sent Zhao Lei a text. Good job. Her family is going to keep pushing. I know. The next one to come looking will probably be Lu Rian herself. How are you going to handle it? I'm not going to. She can't find me, but she knows you're at Washeng Group now. I thought about it for a second. Then let her come. Lu Rian showed up faster than I expected. On the 4th day, right around noon. As I went downstairs to grab my takeout, there she was, standing in the first floor lobby of the building. I hadn't seen her for 6 months. She had lost weight, her chin was sharper, and her eyes looked a bit sunken. But overall, she seemed to be holding up okay. She was wearing a thin jacket. It was April, neither too hot nor too cold, but she had her jacket buttoned all the way up to her neck. She called my name. Her voice was incredibly soft, almost as if she was afraid of startling me. How did you get in? I told the front desk I was your wife. We're going through a divorce. The paperwork isn't finalized yet. I'm still your wife. I looked at her, and she looked right back at me. Looking into her eyes used to make me go soft. Not anymore. Just say what you need to say. Can we find somewhere to sit down and talk? We'll talk right here. The lobby was bustling with people coming and going. Lu Rian's lips trembled a bit. I don't know what you've heard, or what you've seen, but it's not what you think. Eric is just my boss. There's absolutely nothing between us. You stayed in his apartment for 4 months. The color drained from her face for a second. How did you? Who told you? Your access card logs, apartment registries in Stockholm are public records. That's only because the company dorm was way too far. He just let me crash there for a bit. Lu Rian, I cut her off. You bought a baby crib for his place. This time, she completely froze. Her lips stopped moving. The light in her eyes completely died out. I know everything. She took a step back, her hand instinctively going to her stomach. Underneath her loose dress, that slight baby bump couldn't be hidden anymore. Zhao Lei has the divorce papers. Sign them, and we're done. You've seen the terms. You keep the house, I keep the car. We split the savings 50-50. I didn't ask for a single penny more. I don't want the house. I don't want the money. I just need you to listen to me. She took a deep breath. She paused for a second, trying to steady her breathing. Eric and we did sleep together. But it was only once. I was so drunk that night. It was a mistake. Once. Yes, just once. I moved out right after that. And the baby? How many months along? 4.5 months. When was your last period? She was caught off guard by my bluntness. Answer me. Late November. I did the math in my head. She left for Sweden in early November. If her last period was in late November, that means she got pregnant around mid-December. A little over a month after she got to Sweden. Mid-December. You had only been in Sweden for 40 days. She stayed completely silent. So you're, just once. Happened a mere 40 days after you got to Sweden. You never planned on waiting the full 6 months from the very start, did you? He took the whole department out for dinner. I had too much to drink. You were on the pill the whole time. You had a few drinks one night, and suddenly you're pregnant? Those words cut like a knife. Lu Rian's eyes suddenly shot wide open. I took my pills every single day. How could? She looked down at her stomach, then violently snapped her head up to stare at me. My pills? Did you do something to them? I just looked at her, and said absolutely nothing. You touched my pills, didn't you? You swapped them, right? Her voice began to tremble. You did this on purpose. You knew all along. You've been setting me up from the very beginning. I didn't set you up. Then why did you swap my pills? Because if you were actually faithful, taking folic acid or birth control wouldn't make any difference. Lu Rian's face flushed, then drained of color. A few people passing through the lobby slowed their pace. She stumbled back 2 steps, gripping the armrest of the sofa beside her. I'm not crazy. I just set up a verification plan in advance. If you passed, nothing would have happened. Since you failed, I glanced down at her stomach. Well, you see the results. You swapped my birth control for folic acid. Folic acid that's for pregnancy. You purposely made me. I purposely made you do what? My voice remained perfectly calm. Did I force you into Eric's bed? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. On the sofa nearby, 2 visitors waiting for someone were already staring right at us. You're so cruel. I let out a dry laugh. When you were sleeping with another man in Sweden, did that word ever cross your mind? I told you, it was only once. Once is enough, Lu Rian. I'm not doing this with you in the middle of the lobby. The divorce papers, are you signing them or not? She stared at me, and the tears finally spilled over. I won't sign them, then I'll see you in court. I turned and walked toward the elevators. She chased after me for a couple of steps. How can you be so heartless? What about our 3 years together? I stopped in my tracks. I didn't look back. 3 years. Have you ever actually thought about it? In those 3 years, did you ever once step into my study to see what I was doing? Did you ever ask what my job actually was? Did you ever try to understand the kind of man I am? She didn't answer. You thought you just married some translator. Your mom thought you married beneath you. Your brother called me a freeloader. Not a single one of you ever really looked at me. I pressed the elevator button. The doors slid open, but I spent 3 years looking right at you. The doors closed. Back in my office, I drank a glass of water. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing, either. But a deep, heavy exhaustion seeped right out of my bones. Zhao Lei called. She left. Sat in the lobby for half an hour before she finally went. Got it. Someone else came to get her. Fang Lin helped her out. Yeah, I probably shouldn't ask. But how are you feeling right now? I feel nothing. I'll start preparing the litigation documents. If she refuses to sign the agreement, and we have to go to court, you'll need to provide the evidence. Those proofs you have. The photos, the keycard logs, Fang Lin's social media screenshots. If you need more, I also have the records of her public interactions with Eric online. Do we need a paternity test? No, we don't. The baby isn't mine. I don't need to prove that. We had 0 physical contact for a whole month before I went abroad. Alright, let's just leave it at that. After hanging up the phone, I opened my work email. Zhou Yuanan had sent a message. Huasheng Group's security strategy plan for the next quarter needed my review. I opened the file and started working. The sun outside the window inched westward. There wasn't a single photo of Lu Rian on the desk. There never had been. Early the next morning, the company receptionist called again. There's an older gentleman here to see you. He says his last name is Su. Su Jiangguo, Lu Rian's father. I hesitated for a second. Send him up. 3 minutes later, Su Jiangguo appeared at the door of my office. Unlike our last conversation over the phone, seeing him face to face, I noticed he had aged significantly. His hair was mostly gray, and his back was slightly hunched. Have a seat. He sat down across from me, and took a look around the office. The private floor-to-ceiling windows, the wall-to-wall screens, the leather sofas in the reception area. He gave a bitter smile. Just call me Chen Mo, I told him. You hid all this pretty well. I didn't hide anything. Nobody ever asked. He stayed silent for a moment. About Neonian, I've already talked to her. And what did she say? She really let you down. I didn't say a word. She said she had too much to drink, and made a mistake just that once. She didn't want to get pregnant either. She thought she was on her birth control the whole time. She was taking her pills. Su Jiangwo looked up at me. Only I swapped them out for folic acid. His expression barely changed. Clearly, Lu Rian had already told him about this. Why would you do that? Because I wasn't sure. If I was wrong about her, folic acid is just a vitamin. It wouldn't hurt her at all. But if I wasn't wrong, then you got the answer you wanted. Su Jiangwo rested his hands on his knees, his fingers interlaced tightly. Xiao Chen, I admit, our family really hasn't treated you well all these years. Your sister-in-law, Wei Fang, she has a sharp tongue. And that boy Su Jia is completely useless, always causing trouble for you. I also regret the things I said at the wedding reception. Uncle Su, you didn't come here today just to apologize, did you? He looked up. I came here to beg you. Beg me for what? Nianian, she's pregnant now, and she's in a terrible state. If she has an abortion, her body just can't take it. But if she keeps this baby, he couldn't finish his sentence. That child has absolutely nothing to do with me. I know, but about the divorce. Can you just hold off for a bit? At least let her recover her health first. Uncle Su, I've held off for 6 months. He closed his mouth. I've already used up every last bit of my grace period. I verified everything I needed to verify, and prepared everything I needed to prepare. The only thing left to do now is to sign the papers. And if she refuses to sign, the court will rule on it. Her fault in this is crystal clear. Su Jiangwo slowly stood up. Chen, you're much more ruthless than I thought. It's not about being ruthless. My heart is just completely dead. He took one look at me. His eyes were a little red, but he didn't say another word. Just as he reached the door, he stopped. About you switching her pills. If you had just asked her directly back then, instead of pulling all this, would things have turned out differently? Uncle Su, if I had asked, do you really think she would have admitted it? He didn't answer. The door shut. Lu Rian showed up the very next day. She didn't come to the office this time. Instead, she called Zhao Lei. She asked to meet at his office, and Zhao Lei gave me a heads up. He said she wanted the three of us to sit down and talk. Fine. 2 p.m. Zhao Lei's law firm. By the time I got there, Lu Rian was already sitting in the conference room. Fang Lin was with her, sitting right by her side. Why the hell was Fang Lin here? I shot Zhao Lei a look. Miss Su insisted on bringing a +1. I took a seat across from them. Lu Rian looked a little better than she did yesterday. She had changed into a dark blue dress, and her hair was tied up. Lu Rian was the first to speak. I didn't come here today to fight. I just want to have a proper talk with you about a few things. What happened between me and Eric was my fault, whatever the reason was, whether it was the alcohol or just being lonely. I'm the one to blame here. I'm not making any excuses. I didn't say a word. As for the baby, I've made up my mind. I'm getting the procedure done next month. Fang Lin glanced at her. Her lips parted, but no words came out. And about you switching my pills, I'm not going to hold it against you. Even though you completely violated my right to know. I have to admit, if you hadn't done it, I probably never would have faced reality. She paused for a second. But, I do not agree to a divorce. The conference room fell dead silent. Zhao Lei just sat there, his pen frozen in his hand. Give me one good reason, I said flatly. Because this whole mess is entirely my fault. And you used a drastic method to test my loyalty. In the end, I failed, but Chen Mo. We used to be so good. I just want to go back to how things were. We can't go back. You're not even willing to try. Try what, exactly? Pretend I don't know you're pregnant with another man's baby? Pretend none of this ever happened? I'll get rid of the baby. It's not about the baby. My voice rose for the first time. Fang Lin gripped the armrests of her chair tightly. Zhao Lei shot me a glance. I lowered my voice. Lu Rian, you'd only been in Sweden for 40 days, and you were already sleeping with someone else. Do you have any idea what I was doing at home, from the day you left until the day you messed up? She stayed silent. I woke up at 6 every morning to make breakfast. Even though I was the only one eating, I checked the doors and windows every single night. Even though I lived there all alone, I went grocery shopping by myself, cooked enough food for 2, and then threw half of it away. Because I was so used to cooking for both of us. Do you know why I never told you about my real job? She looked up. Because of something you said. You said, I don't care how much money you make. I just want you to be here with me. The color instantly drained from her face. You said that to me on our wedding night. So, I crammed all my work into the hours you were at the office. The second you came home, I'd shut down my computer. Just so I could be a husband who was there for you. Fang Lin covered her mouth with her hand. You kept your word. Lu Rian's voice began to tremble. You always played your part perfectly. But you didn't, I interrupted. You said you didn't care about money, yet every time your mother saw me, she'd sneer, how much can a translator even make? You said you didn't care, but you never once brought up my job in front of your colleagues. You said you just wanted me by your side, but you didn't even give me the chance to do that anymore. Instead, you went straight ahead and found a Swedish guy to keep you company. It wasn't like that, Eric. I don't want to hear his damn name. The conference room fell dead silent again. Zhao Lei cleared his throat softly. Miss Su, Mr. Chen's stance is very clear. If you refuse to sign the divorce agreement, Mr. Chen will take this to court. Then let him sue. Lu Ruyan suddenly snapped her head up. No court is going to grant a divorce against a pregnant woman. Zhao Lei flipped through his legal documents. Miss Su, according to the law, during a woman's pregnancy, within 1 year after giving birth, or within 6 months after terminating a pregnancy, husband is not allowed to file for divorce. However, there is an exception. What exception? If the court deems it absolutely necessary to accept the husband's divorce petition. For instance, if the wife is found to be at grave fault, such as cohabiting with another person during the marriage. Lu Ruyan's expression faltered again. Fang Lin tugged at her sleeve. Nianian, let's go back and talk about this first. Lu Ruyan stared at me. Her eyes were swirling with complex emotions. There was reluctance, there was fear, and there was anger. And another emotion I could no longer decipher. Are you really not going to leave any way out of this? I gave you a way out the night before you left the country, I said. That blister pack of pills was your way out. She stood up, her chair sliding back. You're cold-blooded. She turned around and left. Fang Lin followed close behind. When they reached the doorway, Fang Lin paused for a second and looked back at me. That look was complicated. I didn't dwell on it. Zhao Lei waited for them to leave, then closed the door. What you said just now, you've always been cooking for two. You're a tough one to read, you know that? I know. I'll submit the lawsuit paperwork the day after tomorrow. If things go smoothly, we'll be in court in 2 months. Okay. I stood up and walked over to the window. Cars were coming and going on the street below. A taxi was parked by the curb. A woman in a dark blue dress bent down and got into the car. Fang Lin was right beside her, helping her in. The car quickly merged into the traffic and disappeared. There were still 2 months before the trial. And a lot happened during those 2 months. First thing, Hua Sheng Group completed a new round of funding. Their valuation doubled. My 8% stake was now worth close to 1 billion. Zhou Yuan Hang took me out for dinner. You've been with the company for 3 months now. Our security system has gone from the industry average, straight up to the top tier. That fund last week decided to invest purely because of your security infrastructure. I'm flattered. Oh, don't be so modest. Let's talk about something serious. How's the preparation for your divorce case going? Zhao Lei is handling it. Do you need me to help with anything? No need. Alright, one more thing. There's an industry awards ceremony next month. Do you want to go and accept it? I thought about it for a moment. When is it? The 20th of next month. At the Beijing International Convention Center. Over half of the tech industry will be there. I'll go. Second thing, Lu Ruyan went for a prenatal checkup. Fang Lin was the one who told me the news. Fang Lin had reached out to Zhao Lei on her own, passing along a message through him. Lu Ruyan had the checkup. The baby is healthy. She's hesitating about whether to keep it. Zhao Lei asked me how he should respond. It has nothing to do with me. It's her child. She can decide for herself. Third thing, Qian Wei Fang showed up again. But not looking for me. She came looking for my neighbor. Somehow, she managed to find out the neighborhood where I recently moved. She camped out downstairs for 3 whole days, until she finally caught me leaving the building. I stopped in my tracks. She rushed right over, holding a bag of fruit in her hands. I'm not here to fight. I came to apologize. I just looked at her. Her eyes were red, and she looked visibly exhausted. I was in the wrong before. I said a lot of awful things I shouldn't have. You're a good kid. It's Nian Nian who didn't know how to appreciate you. Auntie Qian, the 310,000 that Su Jia borrowed. Did you pay it off for him? Her mouth fell open. Su Jia is pretty strapped for cash right now too. Then maybe save the money you're spending on fruit to pay off your debts. I walked right past her. Her voice called out from behind me. Chen Mo, you can't do this. Nianian really knows she messed up. Can't you just forgive her this once? I didn't look back. The fourth thing, and the most important one. Zhao Lei received a letter from her lawyer. Lu Ruyan lawyered up, and her lawyer's demands were crystal clear. She refuses to divorce. The reason? The marital bond is not yet broken. At the same time, they filed a countersuit, demanding that I pay compensation for emotional distress. They claimed I violated her bodily autonomy and right to informed consent. When Zhao Lei showed me the letter, I just laughed. She wants to countersue me? Her lawyer actually knows what they're doing, Zhao Lei said. You swapping out her pills, this carries some legal risk. If she really pushes this, you could be looking at some trouble. How much trouble are we talking about? Emotional distress compensation. The payout wouldn't be huge, but if the court decides you're at fault, it could mess with the division of assets. I already gave up the house, I replied. What more could she possibly want? It's not about the money. She wants the court to rule that you're also at fault. That way, she doesn't look like the sole bad guy here. I thought about it for a second. Then let her try. What do you mean? I have something. I'm saving it for the trial. Saving what? Her call logs with Eric, from a week before she went overseas. Zhao Lei stopped writing. You have her call logs? I didn't hack anything. It's right there on Eric's public social media. He uses this super niche app to vlog his life. 3 months ago, he posted an update with a picture. It was a shot of Lu Rian's back in his apartment. The caption translates to, "Can't wait for you to get here." He posted it a full week before she even left the country. Which means, their little affair started way before her trip. That picture of them at the annual party wasn't just a coincidence. Him coming to China for 3 months wasn't a coincidence, and her trip to Sweden definitely wasn't either. Zhao Lei put his pen down completely. She's been playing you from the very beginning. That so-called drunken mistake was totally premeditated. Why didn't you bring this up earlier? Because I didn't need to. If she had just signed the papers, this evidence would have never seen the light of day. She's the one who chose to take this to court. So now, let's give her a fight. I grabbed my jacket, getting ready to leave. Hey Zhao Lei, on the 20th of next month, I'm receiving an award in Beijing. An industry gala. Do me a favor and check if Lu Rian's company got an invite. You think she'll actually show up? No, she won't. But her coworkers will. You want her coworkers to see you? I don't just want them to see me. I want them to know exactly who this translator of hers really is. The award ceremony took place at the Beijing International Convention Center. There were over 600 people sitting in the main hall. It brought together the most influential figures in the domestic tech industry. I was wearing a dark gray suit, which Zhou Yuanan had picked out for me. As I walked up onto the stage, the host read off a long list of my credentials. Mr. Chen Mo, Masters in Cybersecurity from Tsinghua University, and the youngest top 10 expert in the field of independent security consulting. He is currently a technical partner and Chief Information Security Officer at Huasheng Group. Over the past 5 years, he has spearheaded more than 40 enterprise and government-level security projects, saving clients over 2 billion yuan in potential economic losses. Applause erupted from the audience. I accepted the trophy, gave a brief thank you speech, and stepped down. But out of the 600+ people in the crowd, one person in particular caught my eye. Lu Rian's colleague, her direct supervisor, Lin Zheng. He was sitting in the 5th row, representing her company at the event. When he saw me walk up to the podium, his facial expression went through 3 distinct stages. First, confusion, then shock, and finally, absolute disbelief. He had clearly recognized me. During my 3 years of marriage to Lu Rian, she had brought me along to her company's annual gala twice. Both times, I was dressed in a plaid shirt and jeans. Sitting quietly in the corner, completely ignored by everyone, Lin Zheng had even mocked me once. Hey Xiao Su, so your husband just translates documents at home? And Lu Rian just laughed it off, saying, yeah, he's just a bit of a homebody. During the banquet later on, Lin Zheng came right up to me, holding his wine glass. Wait, you're Lu Rian's. He was shaking so much he almost dropped his drink. You're the technical partner of Huasheng Group? But Lu Rian said you just translated things. I gave a slight smile. Oh, I do translate technical documents, Chinese to English. I take on a few commissions here and there. Lin Zheng stared blankly at the trophy in my hand. The engraving read, Technical Contribution of the Year. This award, the previous winner was Academician Zhang. I know, I replied. He looked at me, like he was seeing me for the very first time. Does Lu Rian know about this? She does now. Lin Zheng stayed silent for a long time, and then finally said, Mr. Chen, if you ever have the time, our company's security system could really use an upgrade. Just have your head of tech reach out to Huasheng Group, I replied. After you walked away, Zhou Yuanan leaned in. That was my ex-wife's boss, I told him. He asked, what was with that look on his face? Didn't you see it? Oh, I saw it. Zhou Yuanan cracked up. He looked like he'd just been struck by lightning. 3 days after the ceremony, Zhao Lei gave me a call. Lu Rian dropped the countersuit. Her lawyer just sent over the paperwork, completely withdrawing her claim for emotional distress over the medication issue. I have no idea why, but I have a pretty good guess. Your name in the industry isn't a secret anymore. If Lu Rian brings up the whole pill-swapping thing in court, it would mean exposing every single detail of her own affair. Before, she probably thought you were just some translator, so making a big scene wouldn't have mattered. But now I'm no longer just a translator. Exactly, you're a partner at Huasheng Group, a rising star in cybersecurity. If the media dug this up, she'd be way more humiliated than you. She finally did the math. She dropped the countersuit, but she's still refusing to divorce. That's fine. Do we have a court date yet? The 12th of next month. See you then. I hung up and casually tossed the trophy onto the bookshelf. It was drizzling outside. I suddenly remembered the year we got married. On a rainy day exactly like this. She had smiled at me and said, I don't care how much money you make, as long as you're by my side. I actually believed her back then. I believed it for 3 whole years. On the day of the trial, the weather was beautiful. The courthouse corridors were flooded with sunlight. Lu Ruyan was sitting in the plaintiff's waiting area. Her lawyer was a woman in her 40s. Named Jo. She looked very sharp and capable. Lu Ruyan was wearing a light-colored blouse, and her baby bump was already showing. She looked about 6 months along. Zhao Lei and I sat at the defendant's table. Wait, I was the plaintiff, and Lu Ruyan was the defendant. The judge was a man in his 50s with a very stern expression. The plaintiff may state their claims. Zhao Lei stood up. The marriage was stable in the beginning, but while the defendant was working abroad, she engaged in an extramarital affair and is now pregnant with another man's child. The plaintiff believes this marriage is irretrievably broken and requests the court to grant a divorce, with each party retaining only their premarital assets. The defense may speak. Lu Ruyan's lawyer stood up. The defendant, Lu Ruyan, argues that the marriage is not completely broken, and since she is currently pregnant, we request the court to dismiss the plaintiff's petition for divorce. She shot me a glare. Furthermore, before the defendant went abroad, the plaintiff secretly swapped her medication without her consent, replacing her birth control pills with folic acid. The defendant believes this action demonstrates a deep lack of trust in the marriage and a gross disrespect for his spouse. This in itself is one of the root causes of their marital issues. The judge looked at both of us. Does the plaintiff have a response? Zhao Lei pulled a stack of printed documents from his folder. Regarding the medication swap, we admit that my client did in fact do this. However, this was purely a measure to verify his suspicions after discovering preliminary evidence of the defendant's affair. Here is the evidence. He handed the documents over to the judge. Exhibit A. A post made by Eric Lind on a public social media platform. The photo was taken exactly 1 week before the defendant went abroad. It shows the defendant from behind, inside Eric's apartment, with the caption, "Can't wait for you to get here." This proves their relationship existed long before she even left the country. Lu Ruyan's lawyer frowned, and leaned in to whisper to her. The color completely drained from Lu Ruyan's face. Exhibit B. Eric Lind's travel itinerary from last year. During his business trips to China, within a span of 3 months, he visited the exact same 3 cities that the defendant traveled to for work. Their hotel records are an almost identical match to the defendant's travel schedule. And Exhibit C. The access card records for Eric's apartment, registered by the defendant during her stay in Sweden. The applicant's initials match the defendant's. Zhao Lei glanced at me, and I nodded. Recent photos of the defendant, shared on social media by her best friend, Fang Lin. These show the defendant with a visibly pregnant belly, based on medical estimates. The judge flipped through the documents, his expression unchanging. Does the defense have any objections to this evidence? Lu Ruyan's lawyer looked over at her. Lu Ruyan kept her head down, her lips pressed tightly together. Your Honor, the defendant admits to having an improper relationship with Eric Lindbergh. However, my client maintains that it was a one-time drunken mistake, and that they did not live together long-term. But the access card records show the defendant stayed at Eric's apartment continuously for over 4 months. Zhao Lei interjected. Lu Ruyan's lawyer fell silent. The judge pondered for a moment. Defense, do you have anything else to add? Lu Ruyan suddenly looked up. Your Honor, may I say a few words? She stood up. Her eyes were red, but she wasn't crying. She looked at me. Ms. Su, please address the judge, Zhao Lei reminded her. She turned to the judge. Your Honor, I admit that I made a mistake. I am the one at fault in this marriage. But I want to make one thing clear. Chen Mo planned all of this way before I even went abroad. He swapped out my pills. He contacted a lawyer. He drafted the divorce papers. From the very beginning, he never intended to give me a chance to make things right. The judge looked at me. Plaintiff. I stood up. Your Honor, the defendant is right. I did start preparing before she left the country. Because even before then, I had already found plenty of red flags. What red flags? Well, a message from Eric popped up on her phone. Stockholm's winter is beautiful. I'll be waiting for you. She volunteered to be transferred to Sweden. She changed her phone's password. She frequently stayed out all night, using business trips as an excuse. The judge took notes, but I didn't have solid proof. So, I used a rather unorthodox method to find out the truth. If she were innocent, the folic acid pills wouldn't have caused any harm. I was merely waiting for an answer. And you got your answer, the judge said. The judge announced a 30-minute recess. During the break, Lu Ruyan's lawyer walked over to Zhao Lei. Mr. Zhao, my client would like to settle out of court. She is willing to sign the divorce papers. Zhao Lei glanced at me, and I nodded. What are her terms? The same as the original agreement. She keeps the house, and Mr. Chen keeps the car. Savings will be split 50-50. However, she has one additional request. She wants Mr. Chen to apologize to her face-to-face for swapping her pills. Zhao Lei relayed this to me. I looked across the conference room at Lu Rian. She was looking right at me. Tell her, I'm sorry, but not for changing the meds. Zhao Lei frowned. Then what for? For playing the role of a translator in front of her, for 3 whole years. Zhao Lei passed the message along. Lu Rian's lawyer leaned in and whispered something to her. Lu Rian just stared at me. She didn't say a word for a long time. Finally, she gave a small nod. Lu Rian signed the divorce papers. And so did I. The court stamped them. And just like that, from then on, Lu Rian and I were officially nothing to each other. During the first week after the divorce, I moved into a new place I just bought. It was in a high-end complex right across from the Washeng Group building. 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, 140 square meters. Paid in full, 0 mortgage. Zhao Lei came to help out on moving day. He looked around the empty apartment, with nothing but 2 suitcases and a laptop. You're a guy worth hundreds of millions. And this is all you own? It's all I need. You didn't even buy a couch? I'll buy one tomorrow. He opened the fridge, completely empty. You really have no idea how to take care of yourself, do you? Someone used to do it for me. Now, I'm doing it myself. Zhao Lei shut the fridge door. He turned around. Tell me the truth. How are you feeling right now? Just, like this. Like a heavy shell I've been carrying for 3 years, has finally been taken off. I don't mean she was the shell. I mean I was the one who locked myself inside it. Zhao Lei didn't say anything back. I walked out onto the balcony. This place was 10 floors higher than my old one. You could see much further. The distant city skyline, bathing in the sunset, looked just like a scattered row of building blocks. Do me a favor and look into something for me. Lu Rian's baby. What did she finally decide to do about it? You actually care? I don't. But I need to know how this whole mess ends. Alright, I'll ask Fang Lin. The next day, Zhao Lei gave me the answer. Lu Rian decided to keep the baby. Keep it. She had already gotten in touch with Eric. Eric said he was willing to take responsibility. Lu Rian was thinking about moving to Sweden to find him. And her job? She handed in her resignation last week. I put my phone down. Lu Rian quit her job. She got divorced, and she decided to move to Sweden to rely on Eric. A year ago, when she married me, she was someone with a stable job, a family, someone who had everything. 3 years later, she's turned into a single mother, ready to take the baby in her belly to a foreign country, to chase after some divorced middle-aged man. I couldn't really explain how I felt. It wasn't satisfaction, it was just a deep sense of detachment, like standing on a bridge, watching the river flow beneath you. Whichever way the water chooses to go, it has absolutely nothing to do with the bridge anymore. 2 months later, the Washeng Group's security system officially passed its international certification. Becoming the first private company in the country to get this qualification, the news made the industry headlines. My name appeared in the mass media for the first time, well, even if it was just the industry media. But it spread way faster than I expected. CIO of Washeng Group, Chen Mo. From independent consultant to industry benchmark, what did he achieve in 3 years? 3 years. What the reporters didn't know was that what I truly accomplished over the past 3 years wasn't becoming some industry benchmark. It was stepping out of the shell I'd been hiding in, and finally standing out in the sunlight. That same week, Su Jia gave Zhao Lei a call. Lawyer Zhao, about that 310,000. I'll pay it back. Can I do it in installments? Zhao Lei passed the message to me. I told him, let him pay it back. Do you want interest? No. Zhao Lei, I don't hate them anymore. When did you ever hate them? I thought about it for a moment. Guess I really never did. Then what did you feel? Disappointed, but even that disappointment has passed. Zhao Lei shook his head. Man, you should have revealed your true identity 3 years ago. At least Lu Rian's family wouldn't have treated you like that. If I had revealed who I really was, it wouldn't have been me that Lu Rian loved. It would have been my net worth. What about her now? Does she love you? She did, but not enough. Let's drop the subject. 3 months later, I received an email. Sender, Lu Rian. She somehow found my work email. The message only had one line. Baby was born. It's a girl. I'm in Stockholm. Everything is fine. I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time. Then, I closed the email. I didn't reply. Time flew by. The first year after my divorce, Washeng Group went public. My 8% shares, after the lockup period ended, were worth over 1.5 billion, but I didn't sell. I expanded Washeng's security center from 10 people to 150, making it one of the largest internal corporate information security teams in the country. That partner from Manhua Capital reached out to me again. Are you thinking about starting your own company now? Remember, a year ago, I told you that if you ever wanted to start a business, I'd be your first investor. That promise still stands. How much? Whatever you need, I'll provide. Starting at 300 million. I looked at him. I need to think about it. Alright, no rush. I stepped down as CEO of Washeng Group, keeping my shares, and registered a new company. Done on tech, focusing on providing low-cost, highly efficient information security solutions for small and medium-sized enterprises. Li Zhao invested 300 million, and Zhou Yuanong personally put in another 100 million. In the company's first year, our revenue was 20 million. In the second year, revenue broke 200 million. In the third year, which was also the third year after my divorce, Done on Technology completed its Series B funding, with a valuation of 3 billion. My stake was 42%, not counting my shares in Washung Group. At 33, I went from being a to someone controlling two companies with total assets of over 2 billion. But to me, these numbers were just numbers. What really made me feel different was one day when I was downstairs at a convenience store buying coffee. A colleague was chatting with the store owner. That guy is our boss. He's super capable, but incredibly low-key. You can't even tell. He dresses so normally. That's just how he is. I grabbed my coffee and walked away. When I got back to the office that day, I saw that trophy on the bookshelf. The annual Technology Contribution Award. Next to it was a photo. Zhao Lei took it on the day my company was founded. In the photo, I was standing alone in the empty office. Behind me were the floor-to-ceiling windows and the city skyline. No one else, just me, and that was enough. In the winter of the fourth year after my divorce, I was working overtime at the company until 9 at night. When I walked out of the building, it was pitch black outside. The streetlights downstairs cast a warm yellow glow. A woman was standing under the streetlight, wearing a white puffer jacket. She was wrapped in a dark blue scarf, holding a little girl, maybe 3 years old, by the hand. Lu Ruyan. I hadn't seen her in 4 years. She had lost a lot of weight, but she still looked healthy. The contours of her face were sharper than before. She had lost some of her softness, and gained a certain hardness. The little girl had a pair of blue-gray eyes. Mixed race features. She called out my name. Her tone was as soft as it was 4 years ago. Why are you here? I moved back. When? Last week. I looked at the little girl beside her. The little girl looked at me timidly and buried her face against Lu Ruyan's leg. Her name is Enon, Lu Ruyan said. What about Eric? A year and a half ago. I wasn't surprised. He's not involved with the kid. He sends child support every month, but he doesn't see her. What are you back for? Looking for a job. Starting over. She looked at me. I'm not here to ask you to take me back. I know. I was just passing by. I saw your company sign. I just wanted to see you. Didn't say anything. Have you been doing well? Congratulations. Done on Technology. I saw it on the news. There was a few seconds of silence. The little girl tugged at Lu Ruyan's hand. Mommy. We're heading out. Lu Ruyan looked down and adjusted her daughter's scarf. Then she looked up, and gave me one last look. About what happened back then. I really am sorry. I'm not just saying that to be polite. I truly, deeply apologize. I know, if we could go back in time. But we can't. She gave a small smile. It wasn't a bitter smile. It was the look of someone who had finally let go of a heavy burden. A smile of pure relief. She took An's hand and walked away. Her white puffer jacket looked smaller and smaller under the glow of the streetlights. Until she finally turned down an alleyway. I stood there for a while, before turning around to head down to the underground parking garage. A black car was parked in the garage. Nothing fancy, just an ordinary SUV. I never really cared about that kind of stuff anyway. I slid into the driver's seat and buckled up. The moment I started the engine, the stereo automatically began playing an old song. I didn't skip it. As I drove out of the garage, the streetlights were still shining, but Lu Ruyan was already gone. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Empty. I stepped on the gas, and merged into the traffic. 5 years ago, on a rainy day, I walked into a marriage. 5 years later, on a crisp, clear winter night, I finally walked away from my last remaining regret. The road ahead is still long, but at least, the direction is clear. All I have to do is keep moving forward. The next morning, when I got to the office, there was a cup of coffee on my desk. The receptionist said a lady dropped it off. What did she look like? I asked. Really pretty, wearing a white puffer jacket, and she had a little girl with her. Thanks for all the meals you used to cook, the note read. I picked up the coffee. Black, no sugar. She actually remembered how I take my coffee. I took a sip. It was completely cold. I put the cup down, and booted up my computer. Time to start the day. A new email notification popped up on the screen. It was from Li Zhao. The letter of intent for our Series C funding is ready. Estimated valuation, 50 billion. Congratulations, 50 billion. I stared at that number for 3 seconds, then minimized the window. I opened up the security system upgrade proposal. That was my top priority for the week. 36-year-old Chen Mo, founder of Done and Technology, lifetime shareholder of Washung Group, winner of the annual Technology Contribution Award, controlling over 3 billion in assets. Single. I have a cat, a black and white short hair. I found her as a stray downstairs. I named her Momo, because, just like me, she's not much of a talker. Every night when I get home, she's always sitting right there by the door, waiting. She just looks up at me. And when I crouch down to pet her head, she just turns around and walks back to the couch. I curl up into a ball. And then, I make some food. Just enough for one. I won't be making any extra. The city outside my window is brightly lit. Behind every single light, there's a story. My story has already been told. It's nothing spectacular, but it's real enough. As for those people, I've long forgotten them. All I remember is, that pack of folic acid pills cost me 20-something bucks back then. That's probably the best return on investment I've ever made in my entire life.